Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today I've got the flu. But I'm not going to let that stop me from reviewing the new tank in World of Tanks console. Or World of Tanks Modern Armour, I should say. My apologies. So, today we are looking at the Era 3 Leclerc T4 Terminateur. I assume that's how you say it, or the way the French would. Apologies if I've butchered that. But the T4 is the current Ultimate Season Pass reward tank. So it can be yours for as little as 6,000 gold. But something to note here is that it is the Ultimate Season Pass tank. You cannot get this tank, you cannot get the T4 with the regular 2,000 gold Season Pass. So just keep that in mind. Right, with that out of the way, I will give you my very quick overview. The closest in-game counterpart to the T4 is the Leopard 2 KWS III. On paper, there is very little difference between these two vehicles, and in my opinion, the selling point for the T4 is the current asking price of 6,000 gold, whereas the KWS was full price, which I believe was 17,000 gold, I think. Something like 17 or 18,000 gold, so yeah, you know, 11, 12,000 gold difference in price between these two. Yeah, that's a big deal. Makes a big difference. So, you're getting an Era 3 Premium for the price of a Tier 7 Premium. That's pretty good, and in my opinion, yes, you should get this thing just for the price alone. Alright, let's take a look at the T4 in a little bit more detail, and compare it to the KWS. The T4 has 848mm of pen on standard rounds, each of which will do an average of 700 alpha. The KWS has 844mm of pen on standard rounds, each of which will also do an average of 700 alpha. So the guns are, near as makes no difference, exactly the same. The T4 has 3,750 hit points, the KWS has 3,950 hit points. So the 200 difference there, that in some cases that can mean the difference between surviving an engagement and dying in an engagement. The unboosted top speed of the T4 is 71 km an hour. The unboosted top speed of the KWS is 68 km an hour. The view range of the T4 is 565 meters, while the KWS has 535 meters. That's a 30-meter difference in favor of the T4, but with True Vision, I don't personally see that as much of a selling point. The moving and still concealment of the T4 is 480 and 460 meters respectively, while the KWS comes in with 474 and 449 meters respectively. So, at a very high level, there is very little difference between these tanks. Yeah, you know, at this point, you could argue that they're basically the same, but there are some slight differences that set these two apart. And these are, well, the ones that I think matter are in the gun stats. So the T4 has a stock DPM, and by stock I mean no crew and equipment, stock DPM of 3,850, and it's got 8 degrees of gun depression. The KWS stock, again, no crew, no equipment, has 3,787 DPM, but it's only got 6 degrees of gun depression. And what Wargaming have done to balance the difference between the two is give the KWS a 65% silver boost, and the T4 only has a 60% silver boost. But in all honesty, given the 6,000 gold asking price for the T4, I personally think you'd be a fool to buy the KWS at full price when you can get this thing for, well, less than half the price, 6,000 gold. When the prices return to normal, so right now we're in the heavy metal season, if you're watching this review outside of the heavy metal season, then you'd need to use your best judgment to decide which one to get, assuming they're both on sale at the same time. Use your best judgment to decide which tank you'd prefer and go from there. What I can say is the higher DPM of the T4 means that you're more like, well, the reload is quicker, so you're putting more damage down range, and that can mean the difference between surviving and dying. So you might want to sacrifice the 5% in silver earnings You might want to sacrifice that and stay alive. Up to you. Really up to you. I've got the KWS. That's the one I've got because I just like the look of it. But again, use your best judgment when it comes to buying these things. Alright, let's take a look at the remaining economy stats for the T4. The T4 has, as we've already said, a 60% silver boost, a 15% tank XP boost, and a 3% free XP boost, and a 10% crew XP boost. So there you go. Nothing particularly special in the economy stats. It's not a crew trainer, doesn't have a great free XP boost, so yeah, can't really sell it on that. And the tank XP is, meh, if we're being honest. The silver boost is what might sell it, and the better gun depression. So there you go. In a nutshell, that is the Leclerc T4 Terminateur. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It's a good tank. It's definitely not a bad tank by any stretch. I would highly recommend that you guys get this one for the current asking price. If you're watching this, again, outside of the current season, the heavy metal season, then you'd need to consider your playstyle. You'd need to consider what you value, what you want from the tank. If you want a silver earner, then obviously the KWS. The KWS is not a bad tank. The T4 is not a bad tank, but over a period of 50, 100 games, that's an extra 5% silver that you could be picking up. So again, outside of the season, use your better judgment to decide whether or not you'll get the KWS or the T4. Alright guys, that is all I've got for this video, so if you've enjoyed it, please leave it a like, if not a dislike, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.